Hi, everyone, and welcome to my January reading wrap up. I read so many amazing books in January. I'm a little late to talking about them though, because last week I had sinus surgery. So we're going to talk about them now, and I also want to talk about a few anticipated reads for February. I've already read one, and it was amazing. But today we're going to talk about all of the amazing books that I read in January. They were mostly all contemporary romances, but I did have one fantasy, which was Onyx Storm. Obviously, I loved it. So I ended 2024 with a reread of Fourth Wing, and it is so easy to say that I loved it so much more the second time around. So I ended 2024 in quite the reading slump, and I also read Iron Flame. And obviously, if you've read these two, you know that Iron Flame's ending is insane. And I just didn't know what to do with myself afterwards. I was in such a reading slump. It was such a bad way to start 2025, like as a reading year. But I knew that I needed something that was going to get me out of the reading slump. I probably didn't want to read another fantasy book because I didn't want to get confused before Onyx Storm came out. So I knew that I needed something that was going to get me out of this reading slump. And I decided to finish a series that I hadn't finished yet, that I loved so much in 2024 that I just like was so hard to finish because the ending of the third book in the series, I was like, my heart is broken. But I decided that now was the time. So I finished the Magnolia Park series. I had Daisy Hates and I had the last Magnolia Parks book to read. These were both easy 5 stars. So if you don't know, Magnolia Parks is a series about rich 20-something-year-olds in London. It kind of gives Gossip Girl vibes, and there is the cheating trope involved, but do learn later on like why all this happened. And it is such like a real portrayal of relationships and real problems that people go through even though they are rich, which just makes the series fun. And they go on fun trips and talk about fun clothes. And I feel like I'm not selling the series so much. It's just that the writing is so poetic. There's also in the Daisy Hate series, Daisy Hates' older brother is like a crime lord, and so you do get like crime in the series too, so that makes it a bit more like, I don't know, like page turnery, I guess. But yeah, I read this one and the beginning of 2025 and I rated it 5 stars. I fell in love with Daisy in this book. I didn't love her first book as much, but then when I read this one, I was just obsessed with her and I thought she was so much fun. But Daisy Hates follows Daisy and Christian, and they kind of overlap with Magnolia Parks. And then this was the final story of Magnolia and BJ. I love them so much, and this was such a perfect ending to their story. We're supposed to get 2 more Daisy Hates books after this, but this book's portrayal of grief was just so much better than any other self-help book that I've read. And as someone who's dealt with grief before, like Magnolia's journey with grief in this book was just beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. Rated it 5 stars as well. Probably this is like a 6-star series for me. I love it so much. I know it's not for everyone, but it's for me for sure. So if you have not read Magnolia Parks yet, take this as your sign to read it because they are just perfect. So after I finished the Magnolia Park series, I didn't think that I would have time afterwards to read anything else before Onyx Storm came out, but I ended up having like a week or a few days left, and so I decided to pick up the When in Rome series by Sarah Adams. I rated When in Rome 3.5 stars, I believe, and then I rated Practice Makes Perfect 4 stars. An interconnected standalone series by Sarah Adams, and the first book, When in Rome, follows a famous singer who just like wants to get away from her life and goes to the small town called Rome, Kentucky, and she meets a guy there whenever her car breaks down in front of his house. And it's a cute little romance between those two. And then this is another romance in the series about a girl who lives in Rome, Kentucky, who is a flower shop owner. And the male main character is the bodyguard of the singer from the first book. I absolutely love these 2 books. I thought they were so fun, so cute, such quick reads. If you need like a quick contemporary romance series to read, like this is definitely a series for you. It's funny, it's witty, and just really cute in general. This one was definitely my favorite. The next book, Beg, Borrow, or Steal, I believe it's called, came out in January as well. I still need to read it, but it's definitely worth the read if you just love a cute, feel-good story. And then my most anticipated book of 2025 was finally here in my hands, and it was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. If you have not read Fourth Wing yet, you are seriously missing out so much. I know that some people like want to wait until the whole series is complete so they don't have to wait anymore. But being a part of the hype and reading the series is just so much fun. And just having a fantasy series that you love so much just is so much fun. Like, I can't even describe how much fun it is to read something that you love so much. If you want to know a little bit about Fourth Wing and like what it's about a girl named Violet, and she was supposed to be a scribe and has trained to be a scribe her whole life, but her mom really wants her to be a dragon rider like her. So she basically forces her to go and be a part of the Riders Quadrant, where she goes to this war college and has to learn how to be a dragon rider, even though she's like really weak and really small and has had no training in this. And before she goes, she's warned that she needs to stay away from a man named Zayden, who is in the Riders Quadrant, because he was a rebel in the previous war. And that's kind of all I'm going to say about it. There is dragons who talk in this book. There is fantasy romance, there's war. It's got everything you need. If you liked like Divergent, even Harry Potter, because it's like a school setting, like this is a series for you. And every book to me is 5 stars. I originally, when I first read them, they were not 5 stars for me. The second one, Iron Flame. But then when I went back and reread it at the end of 2024 and then read Onyx Storm, I was like, I seriously love this series so much. And it's definitely like in my top 5 series of all time. So yeah, I'm just so excited for the fourth book. When I finished this, I was in the reading slump of my freaking life, like way worse than after I finished Iron Flame back in December. Like, I could not pick up anything. I was in such a depressive episode. Like, I just did not know what to do with myself. And there's just something so much fun about that. Like, yeah, it sucks in the moment, but like thinking about how much I'm anticipating the fourth book is just so exciting. Like, it's honestly makes life worth living knowing that you have a book coming out soon, which it's not soon. It's gonna be like 2 years, so that sucks. But okay, now I want to talk about anticipated reads in February. So we're already a week into February. Like I said, I had sinus surgery at the beginning of the month, so I could not make this video because I was down bad. One of my most anticipated books that were coming out in February was Deep End by Miss Allie Hazelwood. First of all, look at these straight edges. That is so cute. The inside covers like are so fun as well. Like, come on. Like, that's good. I've already read this and I want to talk about it more in my February reading wrap up, but I just want to say that I absolutely loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It was the spiciest book I've probably ever read, which probably tells you a little bit about the things that I read before, and that I don't really read like crazy like dark romance books. I do want to try though. I do want to try soon for sure. But this is a college sports romance between a diver and a swimmer, and they're like at the Olympian level. Like, they are intense about their sport, but it's also about kind of like two people who are kind of into the same things, and so they decided to try those things together. So yeah, take that with what you will. I really liked it though, and it was my one of my most anticipated books. Like, Allie Hazelwood really outdid herself with this book, and I think it's my favorite Allie Hazelwood book that I've read so far. There is also like those science elements in it as well that she always implements in her books, and these two characters are trying to get into med school. And a few characters that we loved in The Love Hypothesis make a cameo in this book, which is just so much fun. Another book that I am so excited to read in February is Heartless Hunter, and the second book in the duology that comes out, I think, February 18th, called Rebel Witch. I've been waiting to read this duology for a really long time, just mostly because I wanted to wait for the second book to come out, and I didn't want to wait for like a cliffhanger or anything, so I'm finally going to read it in February. And I don't really know much about this book before going into it, but I do know it's about a witch and a witch hunter, and it's a romantasy. I've already read the first chapter, and I can already tell that I'm going to love it. The writing style seems incredible, and I just know so many people love this book, and I'm just really excited to read it in February. Look how beautiful this cover is. Like, it is so pretty, and I love the way I love a YA. I haven't read a YA fantasy in a while, and I love how, like, yeah, they're romantasy and they're innocent, but like there's always high stakes, and I love that about a romantasy book. I also really want to challenge myself to read more on my Kindle Unlimited, because I don't think I read anything on, no, I did not read anything on Kindle Unlimited, I think in January or December. So we need to use our Kindle Unlimited because it's still going through and I'm still paying for it. I know that Heartless Hunter is on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll probably read it on Kindle Unlimited as well, even though I do have the hardcover copy. It's mostly just pretty for the shelf, which I know isn't money saving, but who cares? So let me decide what Kindle Unlimited book that I want to read, and I will let you know. I just browsed Kindle Unlimited really quick, and there was a book on there that I saw that I have been wanting to read because I've been seeing it all over the internet. It's called The Book of Azrael. It looks really good. A lot of my favorite book talkers are reading it right now, and I know it's romantasy. I think it's a little bit of dark romance as well, which I haven't read before, but I'm willing to try. And I think it's going to be so good. I think there's 3 books out, so we have some to get through. Yeah, so that's my anticipated reads for February. Hopefully, I will get to the Book of Azrael. But yeah, I absolutely had an amazing reading month in January, and I'm so excited to talk about the books that I've read so far in February and the books that I want to read in February. I think it's going to be an amazing reading month and amazing reading year in general. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.